Hi, I'm Jessica Woll, author of The Wise Divorce. This is my book, The Wise Divorce, and this is my YouTube channel, The Wise Divorce. I'm a family law attorney, and I'm here to help you navigate the highs and lows, the ups and downs, the crazy of divorce. And try to simplify things, break it down, and make it something that you're not so afraid of, that feels a little more manageable. Because let's face it, a lot of marriages end in divorce, and it doesn't have to be like, oh my goodness, I have to stay in this marriage, or, the sky is going to fall Chicken Little. It means, okay, how do we maturely handle this rationally? What's going to be best? What's going to keep our costs down? What's going to keep our children out of the fray? What's going to create peace? Because when you do decide to divorce, you're looking for a more peaceful route to your future, right? You want the next chapter to be a happier one. You got to a point where you're pretty unhappy, which is why you're looking at divorce and looking for advice on that topic. So on my channel, I'm going to break down my book and give you some tips that you can follow along with this book. The Wise Divorce is available on Amazon. So I highly recommend you get a copy of the book. It's very easy. It's broken down in very simple chapters. There's not a lot of legalese. It's written very quickly. The book fits in the back pocket of your jeans. You could probably read this book in a couple hours. And it will arm you with some knowledge, because knowledge is power. And that's what we're intending to do here. Make a difficult situation a little better. So, first chapter, unhappy marriages. When to stay and when to go. Of course, you should start with a pro and con list, right? Should I stay married? And what does that look like versus should I go? I mean, if your should I go list is much longer than your should I stay list, I think you know the answer. But maybe you need some help with that decision. Well, I recommend getting a good quality therapist for yourself, or maybe a marriage counselor. Because if your should I stay list is looking like there's still some hope there, I recommend that you maybe go with your spouse and try to save that marriage, especially if you have minor children. Because being under one roof, if everybody's getting along, is probably the preferred decision you'll make. But you need to do the deep dive. You need to really do some work to figure out what's going to be best for you and your family. Because I'll say, if you're unhappy, an unhappy mom or dad has an impact on the rest of the family. A happier mom or dad that's divorced is probably a better parent to the children and a better person, more productive in general. So, start with your pro and con list. Decision to end a marriage, what are we thinking about? We're thinking about children, first and foremost, right? And my advice is always to remain child-centric, meaning that you put your children first regardless of anything else. You're the adult, you brought these children into the world, they're the helpless byproducts of your divorce. They should be left out of it as much as possible. They deserve to have childhoods if they're minors. You want to create the best childhood for them and the best memories possible, regardless of your marital status. Probably hard for people to understand why someone would stay in a marriage that isn't working, that don't have children. But if you do have children, you know that you probably want to wake up with them every day. So to trade that for maybe having half the time or less time when they're with your spouse in the event of divorce is a big decision. So again, it goes back to your happiness, right? Are you going to be happier even if you see your children a little less, but they get a much better version of you? As a parent, it's really worth considering. So I also would tell you always to follow your instincts. They usually don't lie, but arm yourself also with knowledge, which is what we're doing here today. Now, also people stay married because they fear change. You already know what you're dealing with, right? You know the ups and the downs of the relationship. You know the positives that the marriage brings to you. It might be some economic security that you're afraid of losing, or just the unknown. The fear of the unknown is huge. I can tell you that coming to see me for a divorce consultation is a scary proposition. You walk in, you don't know what to expect, but I tell my clients right when they sit down that I promise when I arm them with knowledge, they are going to feel better by the time they walk out of my office. Again, do your work. Do your work on yourself. Do your work to figure out the process and what that's going to look like. Because it's going to take away a lot of the fear by arming yourself with that knowledge. If there's physical, emotional, or economic abuse, I highly encourage you to change your circumstances. That is not acceptable, period. So if that's going on, get the help you need, get the support you need, and take steps to end a toxic marriage. That is absolutely unacceptable. And people like me are here to help you to do just that. So reach out, ask for help. You don't have to go it alone when you're in that circumstance. Another thing that's very common in my practice is a person seeking a divorce due to a substance abuse problem of their spouse. You can only allow that to go on so long. Yes, you're going to be supportive initially. Alcoholism is a disease. We understand that. But how is that alcoholic impacting your family? How are they impacting your children? Will they get in a car and drive after they've been drinking? That's not okay, right? At some point, you become an enabler rather than someone who's a support system for your spouse that has a substance abuse problem. Basically, you have to say enough is enough and protect yourself and your children. That person is going to have to sink or swim on their own at that point. You can't keep going on the roller coaster ride. It's way too dangerous and super scary. You just can't do it. I highly recommend that you seek divorce if you are dealing with someone who cannot acknowledge their substance abuse problem or get help for it, and it continues down a very bad path. And you don't want to wait till it's too late, right? Where there's even more dangerous things that have occurred. And you certainly can't put your children in harm's way. So always act child-centric. Remember putting your kids' names on the top of that piece of paper. I think the answer would be you leave a person that has a substance abuse problem if they're not willing to get the help that they need. Next, your spouse has cheated on you. There's infidelity in the marriage. What do you do about that? Now, depends. Do you trust your partner after that? Are they willing to get help? Will they do the hard work and go to marriage counseling? Because let's face it, you don't have any trust in that person, right? They've cheated on you. You found out. You feel humiliated. You feel violated. This is the person that you have children with, that you've said your I do's to, that you were supposed to be with through sickness and in health. And now you find out that they've gone elsewhere for emotional, physical stimulation. It's not okay. So again, that might not be 100% a deal breaker, but I would seriously look at that marriage and see what caused the breakdown. Was this a byproduct, not the cause of the breakdown? Have you already kind of grown apart from your spouse before they're cheating? Where are you really at? You need to ask yourself those hard questions. Again, good time for a marriage counselor if you do want to explore salvaging the marriage. And I certainly recommend a good counselor for yourself to try to navigate how you got to that point. But if the trust is completely gone, I think you know what you need to do. And that is to seek out the help of a competent family law attorney to help you take the next steps to end your marriage if it can't be repaired. Okay? So, these are some tips that I think should help you when you're navigating whether or not to stay or go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon on The Wise Divorce.